Afternoon, Facebook family. It is me again, Jason Gregory, coming at you from the UK, and we have come through a week. It is Friday. So how has your week been? How productive have you been this week? Have you fulfilled everything that you planned to do this week, or was it another week of wasted opportunity? I hope that you were able to maximize everything that you've been doing this week. I hope that you were able to impact lives this week. And I'm going to be finishing off this week, continuing the discussion that I have been having with you all week in regards to leadership. So as Facebook, and to continue to build my audience, once you come on, thank you for that that thumbs up, Susan. As you come on, just give me a heart, give me a like, give me a comment so I know that you're on. But I have got 11 points in which I need to get through in this Facebook Live, and it's really going to be honing in what I've been speaking on for the whole week in regards to leadership. And so today I'm going to be focusing on the fact that leadership, there's certain material that we have to be made of in order to be a true effective leader. And this is what I'm going to be talking about today. So what material are you made up of? And so I want you to ask yourself the questions that, as I'm going through these points, is that me? Yeah, I'm going to be asking myself the same questions as I'm going through these points as well. Is that me? Because as we identify with these points, we are going to understand whether or not we can step up to the mark and live up to the leadership potential which is inside of us. Because this is the reality. It doesn't matter how much potential we have. If we don't step up and raise our game to meet that potential, it will never ever impact anybody. Yeah, and so it's important for us to understand what material does a true leader have. And number one, the first thing we have to really understand is that leadership is born through experience. Yeah, see, there's so many people that will go through training courses on how to be a leader, go get mentored and all this kind of stuff. And to be a true leader, it can't be textbook. It's through experience, because you can't really take somebody further than you've been yourself. But every experience that you go through helps you to be an effective leader in that area once you've gone through that thing. Yeah, you're able to relate to people better who are going through the very thing that you went through, but you're able to give them hope and show them that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and then you can help them by raising their game to let them know that they can get through this as well. And so many people want to know that if somebody's been through it, they will know within themselves, well, wait a minute, they've been through it, I can get through as well. So leadership is born through experience. And leadership, basically the character of leadership is basically a determination to express yourself fully. Remember yesterday when I said you can't be anybody other than yourself if you're going to be a true leader. You can't pretend to be somebody that you're not if you're going to be a true leader. So true leadership is that strong desire to express who you are. And remember, leadership is when you have influence over somebody else. And even if that influence is only been over one person, that shows that you have leadership inside of you. Yeah, and we all at some point in our life have had an impact or an influence on somebody. And that's why every single one of us were born to be leaders. Yeah, we just need to step into that leadership role. So ask yourself some questions. Are you willing to serve? Anybody who's a true leader, it is never out of a selfish motivation. They're willing to serve others. They're willing to put themselves out for others. They're willing to go the extra mile. That's what a true leader does. A true leader is that person that will stay behind when everyone else has gone, just to make sure that people can get what they need in order to get things done. That's true leadership. True leadership is taking responsibility and not passing the buck onto somebody else. Yeah, and that's why a true leader is accountable. Yeah, and that's why there's a cost to leadership, and the cost to leadership is you're accountable to whatever you're doing. And if you're not willing to be accountable, you're not going to step into that leadership role. You're not going to operate in the material needed to be an effective leader. Yeah, are you willing to say I'm available? You'll be amazed. Even with what I do, sometimes when people want you to do something, it may be at a time that may be inconvenient for you, but because you've stepped into that leadership position, because you've decided to be that leader and to help other people to become leaders, you have to step out of a comfort zone, step out of a place that is not necessarily convenient for you, to make yourself available to others. That's a cost of leadership. Yeah, you have to be patient with people, because if somebody does not get it as quickly as you would like them to get it, you can't force somebody to get it. You have to be patient enough to be able to bring the best out of that person and raise that person up. Yeah, you have to. You should be willing to say, do what you say and say what you do. It's amazing. In what I do, I can remember from experience from a person that I raised up into leadership. And this person was quite teachable at the beginning, but when they got to a position of leadership and a place of success, all of a sudden they were no longer teachable. You couldn't tell them anything. They wouldn't fulfill what they said they would do. So they'd say they'd do something, but it would be like 50-50 whether or not it was going to happen or not. That is not true leadership. Yeah, true leadership involves integrity as well. And so a true leader will always do what they say and say what they do. Yeah. So we have to count the costs for leadership. It is going to cost something, because any true leader understands sacrifice. And if you're not willing to sacrifice something, then you're going to struggle to be a leader, because sometimes you're sacrificing your time, sometimes you're sacrificing your finances, you're sacrificing all kinds of stuff as a leader. Yeah, but you get it back multiple, double, triple fold back, because that whole concept of sowing and reaping is really relevant for leadership. And the more you give is the more you get. If you give a little, you'll get a little. You give much, you'll get much. It's as simple as that. So what are you willing to give in order to fulfill your true leadership potential? Yeah. There's a hidden leader inside of every one of us, just crying to come out. But even though that leader is crying to come out, there's another part of us which is a follower that's trying to suppress the voice. So, are you going to let that leader inside of you immerse, or are you just going to continue to suppress it simply because it's easier to be a follower? You see, when that leader comes out, it starts demonstrating all of these materials that we've been speaking about so far, and it starts having those experiences to take people to many different levels of life experience. But even though we all have that potential inside of us, not everybody is going to step up to the mark. It's as simple as that. Not everybody it's easy to settle for the status quo. It's easy just to follow somebody than to take the bull by the horns and have the responsibility of taking somebody from point A to point B. So are you willing to step up in that leadership position in your life today? Are you doing something today that is causing you to be a leader? If you think you're not, let me just say something. If you have ever been given any form of responsibility at any point in your life, that means you've been in a leadership type of position. And so every single one of us on this FB Live can say at some point we've been given some form of responsibility. So nobody can deny the fact that there is leadership inside of us. We can deny the voice that is crying out, saying the leader crying out. We can deny that voice because we want to refuse to hear it, because we know the consequences of stepping up as a leader. But we can't deny that the voice is there. Yeah, every single one of us has got leadership inside of us. And what determines a true leader is really the condition of a person's heart. Yeah, there's a phrase that says that it's a biblical phrase actually. It says, out of the mouth comes the overspill of the heart. And you see, if you haven't got the right heart, then your leadership is going to be perverted. You're going to be manipulative. You're not going to deliver on the things that you say that you're going to deliver, and people are not going to be able to trust you because there's something wrong inside here. Your leadership is determined by the fact that you can lord over somebody, or you can tell somebody to do something, or they can perceive you in a certain way. The reason being, there's something wrong in here. Because true leadership is not the desire to be important. True leadership is not the desire to have authority over somebody. True leadership is the love for people, to see them develop into the leaders that they were designed to be as well. That's true leadership. Yeah. So where is your heart today? Where is your motive today? Because it's all about motive with leadership. Yeah. If it's a selfish motive, that will lead to destruction every single time. But if it's a selfless motive, that will lead to success. It will lead to success, and it will perpetuate success in others. So where is your heart today? Yeah. Nobody is qualified to give orders unless they're ready to receive them. In other words, in order for you to be a leader, you first had to have been led. You first have to be teachable in order to be able to teach. Yeah. And even when you are teaching others, you still have to be teachable, because not one of us is a finished product. Not one of us has ultimate knowledge. The only omniscient person is God. Yeah. Everyone else is still learning. And so if you're still learning, it means that every day is a new experience for you to learn new things. I value, even some of the times I'm looking at my kids and I'm learning even from my kids. They say stuff all the time, and it's like amazing what you can get from the people around you. And people who close themselves off to learning because they think they've made it, they're this big intellectual, or they're this big academic, or whatever they perceive themselves of being, that is called ego. And ego will stop your advancement every single time. There was a lady that was on the FB Live yesterday, and she says, well, there's always a place for ego if used properly. And in a way she's right, but there's a difference between having a big ego and having a strong ego. A strong ego will give you the level of posture that you need to be an effective leader. Yeah, a big ego will stop you from being an effective leader and stop people from even wanting to be around you. And believe me, I've raised people up with big egos, and trust me, it is not a pretty thing to observe. Yeah, it's really a person with a big ego is very prideful, very haughty, strutting around like a peacock, thinking, "Look at me, I'm this greatest thing since sliced bread." That is all big egos. Whereas a strong ego is a person who can have the posture to look at somebody square in the face and say, if you really want to change your life, you need to follow me, because I can show you how to do this, this and this. And if you follow me, you will get to where you need to be. That is somebody talking with posture, and that's somebody talking with a strong ego, not a big one. Yeah, in my business, in network marketing, you're dealing with people all the time. Yeah, and you have to be able to relate to people where they're at, because people want to improve their situations, and people will join people in business opportunities because they believe that you can take them from point A to point B. And so you have to be able to have that level of confidence in your leadership that you can do that. Yeah, and so when you're raising leaders, you can't take them further than you have been yourself. So you have to be the leader you need to be to create the leaders that you want to create, if that makes sense. Yeah, and so, like I said, nobody's qualified to give those orders unless they're ready to take them. And so this is the materials that we have to really identify within ourselves and say, do we have these materials inside us? Are we operating in them? Or are we just suppressing what we should be doing? Because we can always make excuses why we're not doing stuff, yeah? But again, true leaders don't make excuses, they just get things done. Why is it that there's some people out there that within the same challenging situation, one will see it as a stumbling block, the other one will see it as a springboard? Why is it? It's because one is looking at it in the context of a follower, and the other one is looking at it in the context of a leader. And so we have to make sure that our perceptions are right, because if our perceptions are right, then we are going to be effective in what we're saying to people. We're going to be effective in what we're doing with people, and we are going to be effective not only helping them to meet their goal, but helping us to reach our destiny as well. Remember what I said yesterday, it all starts with dependency. People join you, they're dependent, they don't know what they're doing, and then you help them because they're dependent, and then you invest in them until they get to the point where they are independent from you. And when they're independent from you, they are taking everything that you've invested in them, applying it, and being self-sufficient in their own right. But because of the value of what you've given them, there's that connection there between the two of you, and then they become interdependent with you. And together, we start building something amazing. So, we've spoken about leadership all week. In fact, it's such a deep topic. There is still some other stuff that I haven't even covered in leadership that I need to cover. But this is what we've been talking about the whole week. I'm hoping that today's FB Live has been the combination of everything that I've been speaking about this week, and that you guys can go away and take all the elements that we've been discussing this week, implement them in your lives, and become the leaders that you were designed to be. Remember, there is greatness inside of you. Nobody can take that greatness away. You can't even take it away. You can kind of deny it and suppress it, but you can't take it away because it was designed in you in the first place by your creator. And so it's in you. And so know that it's in you. And when you know that it's in you, let it come out. Don't go to the grave in the body of a follower when that leader is inside of you. Let that leader come out so that when you go to the grave, you go to the grave empty. Don't ever go to the grave full. You want to go to the grave empty, because when you go to the grave empty, it means you've lived a fulfilled life. You've lived a complete life. You've emptied yourself out into the lives of other people. And then when you've gone to the grave, all of the investment that you've given in other people is continuing to move forward. That is what life is about. Life is not about sitting down doing nothing. Life is not about mediocrity. Life is not just about settling for good and forgetting about best. Life is about living a fulfilled life so that you can leave this place empty. I hope this makes sense. I hope this week's topics made sense. I may even touch on some more than next week. I mean, if you want me to continue on the leadership thing, just give me a private message and say continue on it, or give me a thumbs up or a like, and I'll continue on it next week, because it's such a massive topic. But I hope that this week was a productive week for you. Make sure next week, by this time next week, you are more valuable than you are today. And you do that by investing in yourself, by reading, by going to courses, by investing in people. Be more valuable this time next week. Have a great weekend. Have a blessed weekend. And I'll see you 12 o'clock on Monday. So take care. Bye-bye.